Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to our televiewers. Welcome to today's talking program called The Interview, the 16th of April 2026. Stay tuned. I welcome our guest, Mr. Lucas Asu. Mr. Lucas Asu, the spokesman, welcome to today's talking called The Interview. Our pleasure having you.
Mr. Endeley, thank you so much for having me on your program.
Pleasure seeing you here. Well, we don't always think I believe our televiewers have waited for us to call them. So we can be talking about some things, and we can be talking about the history of Cameroon and also the political aspect of the both Cameroon, of La Republic Cameroon and Ambazonia, the West Cameroon. So I would love to first of all drag your attention to some couple of things which I actually put down in place for you to see of what you really think, or what the governing council of the Ambazonian people have about this.
I didn't get your
Okay,
question. I didn't get your question. I didn't get your question.
Okay, I said we are going to have some copies of fiction whereby we will be talking about the history of Cameroon, right? And we will be talking about the political aspects also of Cameroon and Bavarian Council.
I'm delighted to be here, and we are ready for all the questions that we can have. We are ready for a very meaningful and constructive interaction.
Okay, first question was this. We shall be talking about my first question. In 1985, the Pope John Paul II came to Bamenda. Till 1 year later, Pope Leo, 41 years later, Pope Leo returned to a city at war. So what can you say about this? That the first Pope, Pope John II, came to Bamenda in the city whereby it was good, there was harmony. But today, after 41 years, Pope Leo XIV dared to the city and leave the city in chaos.
That's a great question, and it's very timely. Events don't happen by coincidence. Things don't happen on their own. The ordinary person watching, listening right now, all they are thinking about is the Pope is coming to Bamenda. But they are not asking a simple question. How did the Pope that is leading one of the biggest religious organizations and global institutions on the planet, how did all of this happen? For the Pope to be visiting a territory in conflict. Over the last few months, the Vatican made the decision for the new Pope to visit Africa. Cameroon was included as part of the trip, and Ambazonia was included as part of the trip because of the ongoing conflict. The Ambazonia Governing Council and our strategic partners the leadership of Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba and the leadership of Kwayo Tabe Julius that have formed a political alliance. The governing council came together with the Ambazonia Prisoners of Conscience leadership. A delegation was sent to the Vatican to negotiate through diplomatic processes about this visit. We made an input for this to happen. Ambazonia has a voice. Unfortunately, the Ambazonia Governing Council, because of its structure and high bureaucracy, doesn't like to make such public statements. They don't like to put a lot of these things outside. Why? Because of the internal competition. And sometimes when they put out these statements, others feel like, well, who are we? Because we were not involved. But that's not how diplomacy works. They're looking at the most consequential leaders and movements that have influence and impact. So for the Pope to visit Ambazonia is because of the hard work that has been done in consultation with the Vatican, in consultation with the Catholic Church, with the leadership of the Catholic Church in Bamenda. So there's a lot of background work that has been done before you see the publicity. So we also understand that the Pope coming to Bamenda, the colonial state, the Ambazonian elites, or as they call them, Anglophone elites, will want to capitalize on this opportunity to a narrative, to manufacture an image that Mr. Biya is still in control, Cameroon is still in control, and the Ambazonian elites are still in control, and the conflict is going down. The Pope is not coming to Ambazonia because the conflict is going down. Pope Leo is coming to Ambazonia because Mr. Biya's strategy to exterminate the Ambazonian people, just like they did with the Bamileke, when they murdered and massacred 450,000 Bamileke. Paul Biya thought the same playbook would work for Ambazonia. Exterminate the people, take over their land, take over their natural resources, and then create territorial expansionism. So the strategy failed. The Pope is coming to Ambazonia because of the endurance of the Ambazonian people, because of the faith of the Ambazonian people, because of the will, because the Ambazonian people survived. The Pope is coming to acknowledge their capacity to survive despite overwhelming hardship. The Pope is coming to recognize their faith. The Pope wouldn't have come to an empty territory, would he? It's coming because the people are still alive. Biya's strategy failed. It's an honor of the sacrifices, the hope, the faith, and the resilience of the Ambazonian people. The Pope is coming to honor and recognize the capacity and the resilience of the Ambazonian people. Majority of Ambazonians are Christians. They are part of the constituency of that church. That's why they are coming to honor them.
Some question based on what you just said, which I noted it down. You said, came to Cameroon and Ambazonia was included. That's my question in this. Are you trying to tell me and the world that Ambazonia and Cameroon are two different entities?
They've always been. Ambazonia is not part of Cameroon. It has never been. It's all a psychological construct. Both people, they came through different historical backgrounds. Ambazonia was brought up through the League of Nations and later on the United Nations. Through the British. Cameroon was brought up through the French. Cameroon gained independence when? In 1st of January 1961. Was Ambazonia part of Cameroon when it gained its independence? The plebiscite that took place in 1961, Cameroon never had a voice in that plebiscite. The plebiscite only took place in the Ambazonian territory for a political decision of a union. Where is the union today? Where is the union treaty? Did the Ambazonian parliament approve the union? We had a parliament back then. Did they approve the union? Was there a vote? Because after the plebiscite, the Ambazonian parliament was supposed to sit and debate the terms of the union. A union is not integration. It's a union. It's a political arrangement. What happened 11 years later what happened in 1972? What happened in 1972? What happened in 1965? Aijo abolished all the political parties. Was that approved by the Ambazonian parliament? Was there a vote? It's always been a unilateral declaration for expansionism and annexation. It's never been a political arrangement between Cameroon and Ambazonia. Even when the United Nations called for the conference that's supposed to establish the two states, they took their own constitution and turned it into the constitution, into the federal constitution. Ambazonia had no say. The Ambazonian parliament never debated, voted, or had any say on that federal constitution. So what are we talking about? Whether Ambazonia and Cameroon have ever existed as one. What is happening is an issue of occupation. And that is what Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba has insisted on. That's why there is a conflict. The conflict is not a conflict of breaking up a territory. It's the conflict of ending an occupation that has existed since 1961.
To move on to our next part, of course, about the Catholic Church having influence in 100 countries in the world. Like, for example, 180 countries in the world. When we know the 14 choose to, well, we know the personally choose to land in Bamenda, the epidemic of the Ambazonian War of Liberation, rather than staying in Yaoundé. What message does that send to the international communities?
First of all, you have to understand that one of the cardinal foundational principle of the church, an institution of global peace. It's an institution that stands for justice and to uphold human dignity. The visit of the Pope has multiple purposes to fulfill. Besides bringing hope to a people that have endured colonialism, occupation, annexation, a war of extermination. The Pope is also coming to Ambazonia to push for dialogue. The Pope is also coming to Ambazonia to use that institution to call the regime of Paul Biya and the Ambazonian occupation elites that are the beneficiaries of this murderous system for the necessity and the importance of dialogue in solving social and political disputes. Also, remember, in Ambazonia, there is a vast constituency of the flock, of the faithful. So the new Pope has to get closer to the people. The new Pope has to introduce himself. The new Pope has to bring his leadership closer to the followers of Christ. So part of coming to Ambazonia is that the leadership of the church get closer and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to the followers of Christ. But the most symbolic meaning is the rekindling of hope, the call into authority that the rights of the Ambazonian people have to be honored. Their identity as a people, their history, their heritage, their institutions, our legal system, our educational system, our cultural institutions, and who we are as a people, the diversity of who we are. Just because we are not francophones, just because we are not Bulu Betis, just because we are not Ewondos, just because we are not the Bassa, shouldn't mean our people should be targeted and should be slaughtered. That the government of Cameroon has to abandon its wicked ways for Cameroon to emerge as a state. Mr. Biya has spent 16 trillion CFA. 16 trillion, which is 21, is it, I think 20, it's 21 billion US dollars from 2016 to 2025. You know what 21 billion US dollar would have done? More than 15 international modern universities, more than 20 world-class research centers, more than 4 international deep sea ports, more than 15 international airports, more than 100 modern corporations would have been created. The entire Cameroon would have been transformed with 21 billion US dollars. What did he do with that money? They've used the money to launch a war against the Ambazonian people. What have they achieved after 9 years of war? Nothing but the destruction of Cameroon itself. The military campaign has failed. So what you've seen happening is a peaceful mission, but there is also a diplomatic component because of the influence and the power of the Catholic Church. The church has been involved in many conflict resolutions and initiatives. So there is also an underground movement to push for this conflict to come to an end, for meaningful discussions with the Ambazonian people, for credible and transparent processes that can help to release all Ambazonian political prisoners, Ambazonian prisoners of war, bring back Ambazonian refugees, bring back Ambazonian IDPs, and start a process of dialogue, negotiation for political reconstruction, political reorganization of Cameroon and the Ambazonia territory for meaningful, peaceful coexistence. There is a lot at stake here. There's a lot that is at stake. You'll probably hear from the Pope calling for peace. No, there is a deeper meaning to calling for peace. It's calling for dialogue. You can't have peace. You can't end a conflict just by declaration of peace. So most of our people have been seeing a lot of banners all across Ambazonia, all across the city of Bamenda, with the image of Mr. Biya. Why? Why all of a sudden the colonial dictator, this murderer who killed 56 of his own people just to rig a presidential election, according to the United Nations record. All of a sudden, the Pope is coming. He's trying to associate himself with holiness. He's trying to associate himself with purity. He's trying to associate himself as a clean human being. So what you're seeing they are doing is the manufacturing and the construction of an image of a murderer, of a man who just rigged an election and stole Chiroma's victory. They're trying to use the Pope to do image cleansing. The Pope cannot cleanse Mr. Biya's image. There's no legacy.
Before I forget, there's a point where I never jotted it down. So, look at the perspective of the Ambazonian country. There is a flyer that actually roaming around the social media calling for ghost town from today, which is the 15th, till next week, Tuesday. So, as the government, the Ambazonian governing council spokesman, what are you saying about this flyer that are actually calling for ghost towns from today till next week, especially when the Pope is around? What are you saying about these flyers?
The Ambazonia Governing Council and our partners, we have not called for a ghost town. In the last 48 hours, I've been interviewed by Reuters, 2 interviews by Reuters. I've been interviewed by the BBC. I've been interviewed by Vatican News. I've been interviewed by Al Jazeera within the last 48 hours. So I've been quite busy, right? We are not calling for ghost town. What we have declared in consultation with Ambazonia prisoners of conscience and Ambazonian commanders on the ground, which is the governing authority on the territory. What we've declared is a humanitarian pause. Some people may call that a ceasefire. It's not a ceasefire. It's a humanitarian pause. the Holy Father is coming to our territory, when you have majority of our people are Christians, we need to create an open corridor for free movement of Ambazonians to visit with their Pope, to celebrate with their Pope, to welcome their Pope. So it's a humanitarian gesture that demonstrates how responsible we are, how we can exercise restraint, and how we can uphold human dignity even during such period. This is who we are as Ambazonians. This concerns us. So only a foolish people will call for a lockdown. So if you've seen any statement out there calling for a lockdown, it's coming from La République military intelligence to sabotage Ambazonia. We have not issued any such statement. Our statement have been very clear. It's on BBC, it's on Reuters, it's on the Vatican News, it's on Al Jazeera, it's on our website, it's all on our social media platforms. The statement that was signed by the Ambazonia Governing Council and Ambazonian prisoners of conscience in consultations with Ambazonian commanders. We call for a 3 days humanitarian pause. We didn't call for a ghost town. I just want to make that clarity.
Okay, thank you. To move on to our next topic, we shall be going to the diplomatic behind the visit of the Pope. So, my first question under this topic on the diplomatic visit of the Pope in Ambazonia. The Pope's visit to this country is going historically and diplomatically movements the public only discover months later. Like what I'm trying to say is that, like historically, when the Pope goes to a quick zones, as we have earlier seen in different countries, such as Mozambique, Sudan, Poland, what is the governing council? What is the governing council of Ambazonia? Like putting what do you people think that it can come out of it? Like in time and this was the Ambazonia are in a war from Endeley.
I remember who the Pope is. Remember what I told you at the beginning of our discussion. We have inputs to this visit. There were consultations. We sent a physical delegation to the Vatican. I don't want Ambazonians to have over expectations. The Pope is not coming to give Ambazonian some miracles. The Pope is coming for a mission of faith, a mission of love. He will also talk about peace. The outcome is very symbolic. For the Pope to visit Ambazonia during a time of conflict, it means there is a recognition. It's a problem that has not been resolved. The Catholic Church and the Pope do not want this conflict to continue. Their presence, the presence of the Pope, his meeting with the Ambazonian people, there will be a dialogue. There will be an exchange between the Ambazonian people and the Pope. There will be a better understanding of the conflict. Remember that Publio is from the United States. So there will be no translation. Speaks English. The Ambazonian people speak English. So there will be a direct exchange. This is very meaningful. So when discussions are going on about a possible dialogue in some either near term or sometime in the future, then there is better understanding because of first-hand exchange with the Ambazonian people. So this is the most important aspect of this visit, is that there will be a mutual understanding. The Pope would have a better understanding of the conflict, better understanding of what the people have endured, better understanding of the system of occupation, and better understanding of lived experiences of the Ambazonian people. So when they're talking about, what should be proposed as solutions, how can we initiate a dialogue process? Because of the first-hand information, because of those exchanges, there'll be a lot of meetings taking place. It won't be just what the Catholic authorities say. There'll be an open forum where our people, traditional authorities, the Catholic leadership, women's group, youth group, there will be an exchange. This is the most important of all. This is what you mean by what will be the diplomatic objectives. These are the diplomatic objectives. It's visiting with the people and having a raw conversation of what's really going on. So when he leaves, he will be enriched by the depth of the conflict and the catastrophic humanitarian disaster that Mr. Biya has created in Ambazonia. And therefore, the urgent need to bring this conflict to an end in order to save lives and to heal wounds, to bring justice. That is the overarching objective.
Let's go to the next quick question, which is still on the same pattern. The regime in has opened this ongoing conflict as insurgency, insecurity, and terrorism in the international stage. And now, Pope Leo the 14th is coming to Cameroon, or is in Cameroon now. So, do you really feel that this media can cover show to the world, or when narrative this media can actually the world what is actually going on in Cameroon? Because we has painted under insecurity and terrorism.
So look at the contradictions. Look at the contradictions within Cameroon itself. A social political conflict that started with the protest of lawyers and teachers. Whenever Mr. Biya doesn't want to solve a problem, he labels the victims of that problem in order for him to justify why he should kill them, why he should arrest them, why their homes should be burnt. So what Cameroon is good at is attention diversion. It's a social political problem. We don't want to solve it, so we call it a fight for terrorism. Students and teachers are protesting. We don't want to address those problems. We don't want to acknowledge that the Ambazonian educational system has been francophonized. We don't want to acknowledge that the Ambazonian legal system has been francophonized. That French magistrates have been sent to Ambazonian courts. Cameroon French teachers are in Ambazonia. You don't know how to speak English? They're in Ambazonia teaching in what they call franc anglais. So whenever Mr. Biya doesn't want to solve a problem, because solving that problem acknowledges the errors they have made, so they will create diversion of attention. They will create a different problem, and they start to solve that problem, and then they persecute everyone else. So if Ambazonia was a land of terrorists, why would a pope be brought to a place Mr. Biya claims he's fighting terrorism? Does that make sense? It's political propaganda. That's how dictators work. You see, they are trying to run away from the real problem, which is identity suppression. That's what Mr. Biya is afraid of. To recognize the identity of the Ambazonian people. That's what he's afraid of. Because the recognition of Ambazonia as a territory with a legal, historical foundation. You know what that means? It has profound political consequences. That means independence. That means full autonomy. This is the discussion they are trying to avoid. The international community is not buying it. It's not falling for it. If Cameroon was fighting terrorism, what were they doing in Switzerland, calling for Swiss talks? If Cameroon was fighting terrorism, what were they doing in Canada? The 3 months they spent doing underground negotiations. I was one of the participants. I sat down. We sat down with a delegation signed, authorized by Mr. Biya and the Prime Minister. We sat down with them. And we showed them who we are. That's why they left. And then they went and asked their Minister of Communication to go out and proclaim that they had nothing to do with it. They didn't send anybody to Canada. It's all a lie. Because they knew the outcome. What came out of the final pre-talks. Cameroon, during those pre-talks, you know how they describe us? In the pre-talks, we were not called people from the Northwest and Southwest. In the official documents, we were not called people from the Northwest and Southwest regions of Cameroon. That's not how we were identified or described. We were acknowledged, called as people from former United Nations territory of British Southern Cameroons. That is in the official documents. And in those documents, what forces was the Cameroon government fighting? The forces that are engaged in conflict with the Cameroon government. Number one, Ambazonia Defense Forces. Number two, the Southern Cameroon Defense Forces led by Dr. Ebenezer Akwanga. Don't be deceived. Don't be deceived.
Okay, so to those that are just came in, and my followers, you are welcome to today's talking program called The Interview. So our guest tonight is Lucas Arto, the government spokesman of the Ambazonia. So, moving forward, it's something like the teachers of the French are actually in Ambazonia, teaching in a language called Franglais. It's Franglais, a national language of Ambazonia, a national language of. Can you just give us a clue of what Franglais looks like?
Franglais is a made-up language that bridges broken French and broken English used by people in Cameroon who cannot speak English. And so then when they want to communicate, because they can't speak English, they try to use broken French and then try to infuse it with broken English. That creates a made-up language, a broken language called Franglais. That's a colonial language which the Cameroon colonial government is using to pollute, to uneducate, to undereducate, and to miseducate Ambazonian children.
Okay, so I want to ask how the students study this atmosphere of the language, and do the students actually have the right results at the tail end coming to this far and there? Do the students really understand this language, the mix up of English and French?
It's a good question. Take a look at the territory. They are afraid to offer modern education to our people because modern education will create a rise in consciousness. People will be able to think objectively. People will be able to see all of these games Mr. Bia is playing. Okay? That's why in most parts of the West and other parts of the globe, wherever you see a high level of education, the political system is different. Politics is conducted differently. There's a high level of accountability because people can reason and see through the political bullshit. In Cameroon, Mr. Bia has used the threat of violence to take over an ownership of that state. And that's why in 44 years, he's not been challenged because of the low level of education that they've offered the people. So the low level of education they've offered the people have very little capacity for objective reasoning, objective questioning, objective thinking. And so they accept whatever is offered to them. They create an education system that produces human beings with low self-esteem, low self-worth. And only in societies where human beings do not have much to aspire to, accept the nonsense that is going on in Cameroon. This is what the occupation is all about. The occupation system was designed to take away life out of the Amazonian people. The occupation system was designed to weaken the human capacity, the divine capacity. That is why it's a system kept in place by the use of extreme force. You can ask a question about why is it that we don't have water? Why is it that we don't have roads? Why is it that we don't have electricity? Why is it that there is garbage everywhere? We have abundance of natural resources. Those resources are being exploited and extracted on a daily basis. They are worth billions and trillions of dollars. How come our people are living like people from the 12th, 13th, 11th century? You ask that question, you get a bullet in your head. You ask that question, the next day they disappear you. You ask that question, you end up in Kondengi. You ask that question, you end up in Newberg prison. You ask that question, your entire family will be slaughtered. That's what that system is about. And it will never develop.
Okay, thank you. Still on this.
That system will never
Okay,
develop.
thanks.
The people will never develop. The people cannot have a quality of life, a quality of education. Look at the life expectancy. That should be an indicator and an accurate measurement of the quality of education and the level of social empowerment the people have. Look at Cameroon. Life expectancy is how much? How long does someone live within in Cameroon? What's the life expectancy? 56 years? 56? Can you imagine? 56. That's the life expectancy. Look at Singapore. That was also colonized by the British. And after the British left, they were also colonized by Malaysia. They formed a union with Malaysia, just like Cameroon had a political union with La République. And the union collapsed. And Lee Kuan Yew insisted on the necessity to end that failed union and for the Singaporeans to have their independence. And he fought for it, advocated for it, until they had their independence. Look at Singapore today. What is the average life expectancy in Singapore? A territory that also went through the same political orientation like Ambazonia and Cameroon. Look at the quality of life. It's one of the most advanced countries on the planet. One of the most developed. Technologically, educationally, socially, culturally. It's one of the purest international hub for investment and innovation. That's the difference. When you have a political system that is there to raise the quality of people's life, to serve the people, to develop the nation, and to build human beings the way God intended them to be. That's the difference. Mr. Bia's goal is to suppress life. Lee Kuan Yew's goal is to expand, elevate, and transform human beings. That's the difference. And that's the difference between these two societies. The purpose of occupation is to reduce a human beings to levels of slavery so that their natural resources can be exploited and extracted without accountability or questioning.
Okay, Mr. Government Spokesman, I would like to take this other question before we can take our break, please. Now, in line with what you have said about the Canadian peace talk, now you said that the Canadian peace talk, they actually welcome you people as a closed territory. But that is still in the international level, even though apprehending some of the leaders like Ayabacho in Norway, they still recognize Ambazonia as a sovereign territory. Is that what you are telling us? International level.
Ambazonia is a disputed territory that is in conflict. Ambazonia is a territory that is currently being occupied by the Cameroon military. We are an occupied people. This is what this conflict is about. And the purpose of Canada talks, just like when there's any other conflict in the globe, is to find a meaningful political settlement. But you cannot settle a conflict when parties to the conflict have not been identified. So in order to settle that conflict, or in order to start any discussion, the parties to the conflict must be identified. It took more than 2 days during Canada talks just to agree on the identity of parties in the conflict. 2 days. The Cameroon delegation, they said we cannot be called Ambazonians. We said, okay, granted. You don't want to call us Ambazonians. What should we call you? We don't tell you what you should call yourself. So why should you tell us who we should be? We are not calling you Cameroon with a K. We are not calling you some abstract and artificial name. We are Ambazonians. A territory created from Ambas Bay by foreign Ngozi Dinka to give us a name that is separate from Cameroon. Because the name Southern Cameroon presupposes there is a relationship with Cameroon. So after Mr. Biya seceded from the Union in 1984, he decided to give the Ambazonian people the name Ambazonia, a unique name that is organic, indigenous in nature. So there was a lot of negotiations until the Cameroon delegation accepted that they will accept to call us by our historical founding, which is people from the former British territory of Southern Cameroon. And that is, so it was almost a negotiated position until they accepted, because we said we cannot be, how do you want to identify us? They said, well, you are people from the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. We said there is no legal historical foundation to that. Northwest and southwest of Cameroon was created by Mr. Biya and Aijo. That's not Ambazonia. That's not Southern Cameroons. So in those documents, which will be declassified by the Canadian government and hopefully by the Ambazonia Governing Council and also by the movement of Siseko Ayuk Tabe Julius, I'm sure one day the two leaders will come together and said, okay, you know what? These talks have come to an end. It's time to declassify these documents. And Ambazonians will be very proud of what we accomplished during those talks. They'll be very proud of how hard we fought for who we are to reclaim our identity. And we were recognized as that. The Cameroon government signed to those documents. This is one of the reasons they decided to abandon the peace talks, because of the outcome of the peace talks. They were very consequential. Those are legal documents. And that's the foundation of any future negotiation. So our people should not be deceived. Our people should be patient. These things require tact. They require intelligence. You need to be very strategic. If you're not, you can be manipulated and be deceived. That's why it's important during periods like a liberation struggle for the people to follow nationalist leaders with a roadmap, a plan, an ideology anchored on truth and justice. And that's what you've seen Siseko Ayuk Tabe demonstrated from day one. And that's what you've seen Dr. Cholukas Ayaba demonstrated from day one. And both movements led the Canadian talks. It's extraordinary what we've accomplished as a people. I understand that there is a lot of gibberish out there from spoilers by paid Cameroon agents whose goal is to make sure the Ambazonian people do not believe in who they are and for the future that they deserve. We understand and we know how those psychological games work. They can't bury the truth. They can't bury the identity of a people. It cannot be extinguished.
Okay. Well,
by the way, Mr. Endeley, you ask very tough questions, eh?
No, because the people out there need to watch, and some of us, we want to know what are the clue or what the government of the Ambazonian Governing Council holding about these visits to Cameroon, especially both publicizing the goals of the public to Cameroon. So that had to draw so much back and front in the social media space. That okay, the Pope is coming. Why the Ambazonian Governing Council actually putting go out? How do people want people to work? So because I have been reading lives upon this, so I wanted to hear from you as an individual, as an Ambazonian spokesman, because I know anything coming out from you, then it is what it has established best of this territory.
I didn't get your question clearly. If you can help me to simplify your question, I'll be very grateful.
So I asked some of these questions was because there are some news or posters going in the social media space calling for both towns. So when you and my team, we were like, what's going on? How the Pope of the caliber of person, be put into the nation of Amazonia, and the people are actually putting both down.
That's the work of the devil. That's the work of Cameroon military intelligence.
Yeah.
That's the work of the devil. That's the work of Cameroon military intelligence. That's the work of Cameroon paid agents creating fake information about Ambazonia in order to create confusion on the ground. We are the authority in this liberation struggle. So what we say becomes the final word. And our statements are out there in international media. We didn't call for a ghost town. We called for a 3-day humanitarian pause in order to honor and welcome the Pope to our territory, in order for the dignified Ambazonian people, with all their beauty and their glory, with all their resilience, to show up with their colorful cultures, to show up with joy, with hope, with faith, and with love, and a sense of optimism filled with the love of Christ, to show up and welcome the Holy Father to our beautiful territory.
Mr. Dr. Lucas Atu 4 coming up.
By the way, Mr. Endeley, let's please. I'm not a doctor.
Okay.
I'm not a doctor. I am Lucas Asu. I'm a spokesman. While I'm here, I don't speak for myself. I speak on behalf of the Ambazonia Governing Council. I speak on behalf of the Ambazonian people. I am not a doctor. I'm Lucas Asu.
Thank you, my pleasure hosting you, and I need to see you sometime more in the future. To our fellow televiewers, tonight we come to the end of this program. So see you again next time on see you again on the interview next time.
Mr. Endeley, before we go, I want to honor you. I want to honor you for the great job that you are doing. We want to thank you for using very little time that you have. We know you're a busy guy. You're also in school. Try to do a lot of things and shape a better future for yourself. You're also doing a lot of work out there. You're doing a lot of advocacy, a lot of education. I want to applaud you and I want to encourage you to keep going. Those who step up, especially during times of need, to serve the people selflessly, you'll be rewarded beyond your wildest dreams. That's what God asks us to do. The purpose of leadership is to serve. The more you serve, genuinely, transparently, with a lot of care, love, and dignity, the more your own life will be blessed. The more lives you touch, the more your own life will be touched. The more lives you inspire, healed, transformed, the more your own life will be improved. Thank you for all you do. And for our people, we call on the Ambazonian people to turn out in their millions and millions and millions and millions from Kajifu, from Mamfe, from Egbeko, from Kumba, from Boya, from Kumbo, from Boyo, from Ngoketunja, from Mezam, from Mumu, from Dian, to turn up in their millions. There's a humanitarian pause, which means Ambazonian forces have been instructed to ensure safe travel, safe passage of all Ambazonians, the visitors, and the dignitaries that are pouring into our territory. We are creating a space filled with dignity for our people to have a moment with the Pope and listen to the message from the Holy Father. We wish the Pope a safe journey to Ambazonia and a productive and a good time with the Ambazonian people. Thank you for having us today, sir.
Thank you also for showing the program of the interview. Okay, our telephone viewers, we come to the end of this program of the interview tonight. We should see you again sometime in the future. Thanks. My name is Endeley.
Anna, good morning. Mami there for Southern Cameroon with Papa there for Southern Cameroon. Now, na picking brother Abdul Karim. We don't say I go quiet so they because I check say the first message will be sent out. Wanna be understand. But my eye passed for paging news this morning. I see so Mami for Catholic Church. We saw another woman where they talk baby grammar. Where they don't go interview them, they ask them so which they expect them as Pope the Camp. They passed me whether this Mami them now really who Mami them and that woman are really who sister. I don't know me their name them. But I see the palaver pass my power. Where some man too on top bike. The man where they on top bike self, his voice need to sound like Bamenda man. He the one sound like man where come on bunda, where don't stay for Bamenda. But the talk they pass my power. Mami talk say the people come because they kidnap them for no nothing. They go pay ransom for no nothing. Well, maybe right. Kidnapping maybe routine. Bamenda man don't know that kind of fashion. But when Mami was see Mami feel like 67 or 70 years. I see Mami come on the talk that kind of talk. I'd ask and say, Osa Mami be there for 2016. Osa Mami be there for 2017. Osa Mami be there for 2018, 2019. Mami go leave malaria parasite. Go to talk about symptoms when a headache. Yes, we don't fight palaba kidnapping with people they do inside town, inside land. But for Mami, when they go ask you say, you want me people can't do it, you begin talk kidnapping. Kidnapping start with Bamenda, which day Mami. Even if the kidnapping day to day, wait to start them. You know, go try for talk now, say, be them quench that thing where they promote the kidnapping. Be them quench that problem. I want to ask that Mami say, Mancho BBC they die for prison, so where they don't talk to me, they fix road now because Mancho be come out cry, say me they fix road, then catch you local. So that Mami be happy. Mami not open one mop, talk to my picking in the prison. Mancho they prison. When they prison me pop can make them move them. That one no come out. It shows say this Mami they don't prepare you. They don't prepare you. Now people they select them, prepare them. The other woman come out talk big English, guru English go up the kandang. You know ye pa palava cause for the problem. You know ye pa for palava put it in the inside bush. One day they don't be displaced and one day they for prison. You know ye know nothing. You only talk them. It shows say they don't prepare them. As for that bike man, I need the doubt na bunda man. My mommy them, my papa them, got the watch all week. Got the watch all when I want to down there. Got the watch we were there for got the watch the one day then they outside. Papa God go judge una go decide for use opportunity for stop the blood where the flow for land. For stop the people where they kill whistle. Una go use them. Because una want please una belly. Una want please some mayor. Una want please some governor. God the look una. God the watch una. Man way get sense they look now. Man way get sense they look tomorrow. Anything we get beginning, it get ending. Thing we normal end na till we normal start. If una the glad say we dey for ya, una the glad say people dey suffer. One day, wallahi, it go end. When it ends, some people go laugh, some people go cry. God go judge una the plan for use this visit for propel some political agenda. And if you believe say na una go sit down so where this thing start for una from, then key Akunjilius on the 8th of December 2016, we're claiming. Start shoot gun them. We only come out to so we not stop them. They don't catch we local. Catch a part for Nigeria where they be wrong go hide they bring a can local. Or if you open up talk that one. Man to we cry say me then fix road, they catch you local, they fix the road to the one that they glad. The tank mayor, the tank governor. So much shame no day. Shame no day. God day. For the good people the way they see there for that land. I could use this opportunity. Una pass una message for that Pope. Una pass una message for Pope with all respect. Una welcome me. Una pass una message for you. May the ceasefire. Move military for una hate. Move for that pikin for prison. She don't talk. Una no start war. Una pikin and be kidnapper them. We grow for Bamenda, we grow for Boya. We pikin and never be that kind of thing. It start when? Where to bring that kind of thing inside land. Now we bring them. They come up for our side. If una like, una listen to it. If una not like, make una not listen to it. That land are all we get. Once you suffer, I go suffer. Once I suffer, you go suffer. May God bless una. Good people them. We don't already tell una. Plenty people don't come out guide una waiting for do. We could not follow and do. God get help. Assalamu alaikum.